This is the Business of Apps podcast, bringing you actionable insights from the leaders of the global app industry and the world's fastest growing apps. You can find more app news, data and analysis over at businessofapps.com.
Welcome to the Business of Apps podcast. On this show, we invite app industry professionals to cover various topics. We promise to do our best to keep it both insightful but brief. In this episode, we have Fouad Saeidi, CEO at App Growth Network. Fouad, welcome to the Business of Apps podcast.
Thank you, Art. Thanks for inviting us.
Great. Thank you for coming. It's great to have you on the show. All right. So one of the most efficient way to solve a problem or to make a breakthrough is to zoom out on the situation and see what the set of actions needs to be taken. It's true for many things in our life. And perhaps the most dramatic and quite literal example was the first picture of the entire Earth taken by the Apollo 17 astronauts back in 1972. They zoom out on the Earth itself. It woke up a lot of people on the environmental issues and changed our attitude towards the nature. Today, we aren't going to tackle that big issue, but still, we want to zoom out on the app marketing and specifically talk about the notion of app lifecycle marketing. But before we begin dissecting this thing, tell me about yourself, Fouad. What is your background?
So my background is in digital marketing over a decade. I actually have done app marketing since 2013. I remember first I joined a mobile gaming startup, and that we were publishing games. And one thing led to another thing. Here today with App Growth Network, touched over 250 apps in the career overall, and various environments, where from solo entrepreneurs to enterprises, over 15,000 employees. So I've seen it all, basically all sort of sizes, all sort of budgets, and all sort of different stages of mobile apps art.
Right, 2013, that's it's like almost 10 years ago. And, Facebook was not the Facebook that we know now. TikTok wasn't even in our imagination back then. Or the whole tech world was very different back then. It's kind of hard to... Do you ever look back to those times in 2013, 2014, how different everything was?
Oh, things were totally different. I remember when we were doing App Store optimization in 2013, there was not a lot of ASO tools back then. I mean, App Annie was there. There was like a few, I remember there was App Codes or something we were using back then. You could basically, there was not a lot of apps, a lot of competitors like what it is today. You could put some keywords in the field and you would just rank. And if you remember the era of Flappy Bird,
Oh yeah,
where there was lots of clones of Flappies in the App Store, and they all ranked and made money. And basically, App Store was flooded with a lot of versions of Flappy. So interesting times.
Pretty flappy world back then. Now, tell me about App Growth Network, your company. What do you guys do? Do you grow apps? Do you water them?
We do. We actually are a 20 people company. We are headquartered in Vancouver, Canada, where 90% of the team is located. Most of the business is in North America, focusing on acquisition retention for apps. Basically, the core services we offer are organic and paid user acquisition, as well as lifecycle marketing, retention, CRM, and analytics for apps.
Wow, Vancouver, what a place to work. That's my dream, to move there one day, perhaps in the next life. That's sort of a nice environment to work and, to live there. One of the reasons, perhaps the biggest one for app projects to fail, is the lack of systematic approach. App brands, in-house marketing teams may have certain skills in one area, but they just don't put all pieces of the app marketing together. And in the app industry, there's such notion as the lifecycle marketing. So let's define it. What is it?
Well, lifecycle marketing is about creating effective strategies that meet customers' needs at the right stage of their basically journey. Typically, it's, and have you heard of the term pirate metrics, the R?
Oh yeah, so, R, double R, R,
right.
R.
It was funny. I was practicing this with my daughter this morning, and she was like, well, where's the T, the treasure? And I'm like, there's no T. But the truth is, yeah, I mean, in the app world, the R starts with activation, acquisition and activation, then retention and re-engagement, right? And I mean, monetization as well is a part of this. So it's a 5-step process. Then each stage has its own mechanism for basically enhancing the customer's life, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's pick up a specific example, like a photography app.
Yeah,
so people can see better, like how each stage can or should be applied to the application lifecycle.
Yeah.
So the funnel starts with acquisition.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what the stage is about. I realized that among the audience may be seasoned marketers who know this things so well that you can wake them up in the middle of an ad, and they will tell you every stage. But for the sake of folks who are at the beginning of the marketing path, so to speak, let's explain the acquisition stage.
Yeah, so for simplicity, we divide it to 2 channels. We could say organic and paid, right? Mm-hmm. And within organic, then it has subcategories like App Store optimization, which is search, and everything that you do, that you get better conversion through the App Store itself as a channel, social media, email, word of mouth. And paid are obviously what you have to pay to providers like Apple, Google, Facebook, social, TikTok, influencer marketing, anything that you have to pay to get users to the door. So that's basically, and for photography app, as an example, well, what kind of photography are we talking about? Is that a photo editor app? Okay.
Yeah, let's pick a photo editor app, something that gives some nice touch to the pictures you're taking.
So the best step is obviously to focus on the value proposition. How is my product different? So a lot of this is, and what do we do for people, and who else is in the market? So we search in the store for keyword photo, and then whatever, editor, creator, maker, right? Each of them. And then come up with ideas of, well, where else is the opportunity in the market that we actually can tackle and get the most efficient kind of outcome from our results? And then maybe start from search, right? Yep. Search is a good one. And then we can go from there, right? So from the photo app, and then you get people to the door, and obviously then you got to get reviews, testimonials, get some social influencers behind it through TikTok or, Instagram or different channels. Can't always rely on paid. Paid costs money, but you also have to have an organic effort and viral effort, word of mouth effort to sustain that.
Right. So it's got to be a good mix. You may have a nice budget for your application marketing campaign, but it doesn't mean you should rely on paid acquisition only and just burn it through without, any thought about the getting native traffic. And yeah, you're completely right that the influencers, I do wonder how we take it for granted these days that influencer marketing is a part of the mix. Just a few years ago, it was not the case, but now you're kind of always keeping it on your radar that reaching out to folks who can be a good connection, good bridge between your app and the users. A specific person who has a nice followership on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, or on all of the above, and reach out to these people who are benefiting from your app. Something that you before was thinking only, along the lines either app optimization or just running ads on the paid acquisition channels like Facebook ads or Twitter ads.
The most important part is to understand what stage of product lifecycle are we dealing with. Mm-hmm. So, for example, for new apps, when they're just launching, we want to validate the product. So if you want to validate the product, it's really important to have the most qualified users on the product so that we know the traffic source is good. So if you compare, for example, Google UAC, which is a channel that is usually cheaper to acquire compared to Facebook, was 3 times more expensive. So we have prospects or clients asking us, I want 1 million downloads and I want to spend the least. And I'm like, well, you're just launching a product. Do you really want those 1 million right now? Or do you want to just have 1,000 to 10,000 downloads to validate your early stage product? And Facebook, yes, you're going to be paying more cost per install, but then you're going to put more criteria there. People at certain age, certain household income, certain jobs, because social media, everything that you put is used against you for advertising. So then maybe you get a bit of that. So then, and also obviously search is important because it's relevant. Then focus on those scale channels later on when you know that you have the best product in the world or have improved your product to its best potential. And that level, you put scale channels like Google UAC where you can actually get a lot of downloads. We call it bang for your buck.
Right. The validation is really important because up till that point, before you validate your product and see if there's a real demand, it's your assumption. Obviously, you and your team admire the product you've been working on and you believe it's really useful for people. But before you test this hypothesis, just a hypothesis, you have to test it in the real market and see if there's a real demand before you start really investing in the app marketing, paid acquisition including.
Yeah.
Now we're moving up or down. It depends how you rotate the funnel. Activation. So we've got the attention of the people that are using the app. So let's make sure they actually start using the app after the moment they download it on their smartphone, put it in their pocket, and become and proceed with their lives. What do we do at this point?
Basically, these are strategies to convert acquired users to engaged users. So a 3-step process, optimize the user onboarding. That's really, really important because you got that first few seconds to capture users' attention. Mm-hmm. And obviously at that level, they're evaluating, do I have to pay for this right away? Well, some people offer free trial, try it for a while, right? And reminder for people that this app exists. Chances are somebody is searching for we're talking about a photography app, mm-hmm. or the editor app, and they download 3 of them at the same time, and now they're evaluating these 3, right? It's not that the first one they download and that's it forever. They'll try 3, 4 of them at the same time. So push notifications and reminders so that we were one of the ones that you're evaluating in the first maybe week that they're considering that they fulfill their needs to develop that bonding and relationship with them. So activation is consistent, basically contains of these 3-step process.
All right, that's a really good hint because obviously, no matter how good description, the icon, the demo video on the App Store, even reviews that people can read somewhere. Before the moment they actually try the app, they just have no idea if this is the app they're looking for. Is this something that they really need to keep on their phones? So they're choosing their options, grabbing a few apps, and if you can interject your push notification messages that coherently remind about the app. Tell the person that what they should do next, and just remind that the app is really relevant, and basically kind of gently push him toward your app instead of those couple others that he may be evaluating at this point.
Exactly. So basically, statistics shows that apps lose nearly 75% of their users within the first day of app install. That's a statistic out there. Mm-hmm. So basically, when we're talking about onboarding, you can ask some critical questions. Basically, what the users want to, when they download the app, always address their needs. What is the app about? What can I do with it? What am I supposed to do next? Am I happy that I downloaded this app? They're in that stage. So you're going to get them engaged with in-product reminders, the free trials, you're putting your features out there, demoing. There's no point of hiding a lot of features. Well, this is a pro feature, this is a premium feature. Just putting it out there, get them to try it as much as possible. Right, we know that some people are just looking for freebies, right?
Yeah.
But still, it is worth it to put it out there to get them to get hooked on the product at least every day or every other day, depends on the nature of the product, right?
Yeah, so we're going to gently reach the next stage, retention stage, where what are we at the retention stage? We're using push notifications to make sure that people still have your app on the radar. They're not moving away from the app. There may be so many things, that may prevent that specific person from using your app. That's kind of unpredictable, not only for you, but for him or herself. And there got to be ways to remind about the app and kind of guide him or her through the application experience, right?
Yeah. So for retention, you want to break it by different days. So day 1, day 7, and day 30. Mm-hmm. So then each of these, they have different strategies to sustain. Right? We talked about for example, 1, custom notification or one thing in app communication. So it's about the segmentation of to who we're sending what sort of communication. And their journey is different. Somebody who's on day 5 might need to see something different than somebody who's on day 1. And somebody who's on day 14, because at some point we need to charge them for money, or at some point they need to, the product validation stage is done. They realize that I need this every day. Let's say meditation app. They say 7 days is what you need to get hooked on it. So every night you form those habits. So that's where we're actually forming habits. And applying app gamification elements. This is really, really, really important part. So hierarchy of rewards. People usually like to have a belonging to a community, to achieve something. They're achievers for games, the social, the tokens. Again, I've spoken about various kind of events about companies like Duolingo. They just went IPO recently, that they actually mastered this whole gamification in the product through leagues, through social, through leaderboard, through daily streaks, ways to actually for people to feel like they have a belonging beyond just the day-to-day habits.
Right, we're social animals. We like to belong to other group of people, share their interests, share your achievements, hints, tips, tricks, your progress in the app. And the Duolingo is a really great example because this is about the learning a language, and you have to apply a lot of tricks in a good sense to help that person to progress and make the use of the application. Take notes for how the apps like Duolingo introduce itself to the users. And now, next up is the case where it doesn't matter how hard you may try to avoid this stage, but it's going to happen inevitably. Some people will churn away. This churn rate that says that 3/4 of folks are churning away within the first 30 days or something. They're just stop using the app. You have no idea for whatever reason it may happen. But the game is not over. You still have the ways to get back some of those people. So what do we do to bring them back?
Yeah, so we talked about retention day 1, 7, and 14, and 30. Sometimes waiting till day 30 is too late. These things have to come. You need to be proactive. So, for example, I have this push notification from CoinMaster. We sent you 20 free spins and 1.5 million coins. Don't tell anyone. They try to make it a secret, something really special to this person. Right. Oh, wow, I've got something here. If they wait till 2 weeks, the person might have lose their interest about the goal is to play daily, right? discount or limited time saving. Uber is really good with that. Like, I don't know about you, but I get like 50% off every other week or something like that. Then, either from Lyft or Uber, they're trying to do something to you every other while.
Yeah, and I think the key part is that it shouldn't feel like a stretch. It should be really something useful. Be creative. You have to be able to think through what the real benefit you may bring to people, approaching them with something. It shouldn't be empty, hollow proposition that does nothing. That's the tricky part, but if you can pull it off, you have a really good leverage to bring people back and grow some of part of your app's user base you've lost for a certain period. You may bring these people back.
Yeah, and either a financial reward or some premium feature of the product that it's a special thing for them that they wouldn't upgrade for that. And I think in-app surveys are really good ones. So there's third-party tools that you can actually put in the product. Love us, rate us, don't love us, tell us why early, so you know why they don't love you, and then later on try to win them back by offering something complimentary service or feature.
Gotcha. Be proactive. Yeah. Now, we're at the stage where I would say the majority of app developers actually, like, the reason why they're creating apps to monetize, to make money. I remember a few years ago, there was a British company that were conducting massive studies among app developers, putting like data points for tens of thousands of developers, and they had a cohort of people who were hobbyists who were creating apps, for the pleasure of creating apps. They didn't want to make any money, but that number of those people was just minuscule, on the general landscape of web development. 99.9% of people creating apps to make a profit, to make a business of it. So how do we monetize an app?
Well, there's either in-app purchase or in-app ads, right? So if you are an app that has a lot of low-value users, so let's say some casual games, right? Or some apps that are commodity, easy to make, right? You just want to go for numbers game, then in-app ads are the way to go. It's based on impressions and all that. But if you have a product that is quality, you've put effort to build it, you don't want to bombard it with ads, right? You want to have in-app purchase, so that's very common. So monthly subscription or yearly subscription is very important. Trying to get yearly subscription in front of people as early as you can after the value proposition is defined. Be smart with it, like the color contrast with the X sometimes. I've seen people put like a sharp white on blue and it's easy to see the X, whereas some games you can't even find the X. It is like black on gray or something. There's an X somewhere if you really look deep. But some people just purchase. Don't underestimate the purchase of the buyers out there if you want to increase your subscription ratio. And one-time purchase, like for example, Bumble, they have a one-time lifetime purchase, portable North Pole. You buy this product because you have children, there's a holiday app, a lifetime purchase. And some people see value in saving, but these are like couple $100 purchases. Like I think Bumble Premium was $200 or portable Notebook Lifetime Pass was $400, right? So you paid for like 5 years, 10 years to use it actually, right? Bumble is like a lifestyle app. If you're single, you're dating. If you're not single, you're networking. They've got the biz, they've got the BFF. So every stage of your life, you can actually use this for a long time and benefit from it, right? So as long as you can find like a value proposition that is for longer term beyond just a short-term need, then you can actually like be smart about the one-time lifetime purchase, in-app purchase with that as well, and really leverage like the customer for life value proposition.
You know what? I find subscription model being so widespread these days. At some point, I thought that it's going to be only the option for folks who are selling content services like video, audio, books. But now so many utilities like you're looking for a video or audio editor for your iPad or something, and like the top apps you're looking at, they all provide subscription. I don't know, something like $5-7 to get the basic features, and then they're offering you the subscription for a month, for a year, and obviously giving you certain discount if you're subscribing for a year. So subscription models all over the place. If I remember correctly, the recent numbers for the classical paid model was that it's actually gradually fading away. It used to be one of the pretty big portion. Even when the net purchase was the major option, paid apps were still a pretty big chunk of the app ecosystem. Today, it looks like the app subscription is the name of the game, right?
Yeah, 100%. People, because there's so many free apps out there, free to use apps out there. There's no point of, unless you have a big brand, something is established, it's a utility that people really need to use on the go. Let's say a ruler for construction workers that is super special, and they know they have to go to Home Depot and buy it, and now this is something. So outside from this, I think the marketplace is saturated with a lot of apps, and you could have a good value proposition to stand out.
Okay, and that was the final question for the major topic on the table. But as always on this show, we have a small second part where we ask just a few questions to every guest we have on the show.
Yeah.
And here they are. They're small but nice. What smartphone do you have? Have you been switching between iOS and Android, or staying one side all the time?
I have an iPhone 12 Pro. And I have been with an iPhone user for the past 10 years, I would say.
I thought you were going to say 100 years. All right. What was your first mobile phone?
Sony Ericsson.
Oh, Sony Ericsson.
Do you remember that?
That was my actual first mobile phone. Up till now, Sony Ericsson was, I don't remember that anybody mentioned among 80 plus people on this show. So you're the first one who mentioned Sony Ericsson. Now, imagine you've left your smartphone at home now. What would be the most missing feature for you?
Slack.
Oh, nice.
Slack and Maps, these two things, right?
Yeah. Google Maps or Apple Maps?
Well, it depends, right? I usually use Apple Watch, so I like when I'm driving, the Apple Maps gives you a vibration in your hand, and you just you don't have to look at your phone. So
it's really convenient, right?
Apple Watch. Yeah, it's like a vibration. It's a turn coming, so
it doesn't distract you from driving, but let you know that you have to turn. Really nice, yeah. Now, when you're looking at your iPhone 12 Pro. Do you think there's something that is missing, software, hardware, something that you would like to be improved, like you've been waiting for this thing and it's still not there? Live battery could be better or something?
Overall, I think there's a big improvement. What I think I see something that they need to come up with is a mark and unread for SMS. So where somebody sends you a text, you look at it, if busy life of ours, right? We don't have that's why WhatsApp, so I can mark as unread and I get back to it later.
Yeah.
I wish they improved that. But on the other hand, I just got iOS 15 2 days ago on my phone. It's a game changer. I think it's a really good.
Do you use Focus already?
I'm starting to do Focus. Actually, I like the fact that I do different for my sleep versus daytime. I haven't customized it yet. Who I want to receive calls from, because we could totally get dragged into the busy lifestyle of technology. We're bombarded by push notifications from Slack, from our colleagues, from our partners, and I think that's what the message that they're trying to come up with, to focus on the segmentation, grouping. So you see, let's say all the notification about certain topics at different time, right? So they're trying to make our lives easier instead of technology disrupting with our lives, if that makes sense.
Right.
They're trying to, at least.
They're trying hard, yeah. It remains to be seen how successful that effort will be, because you have no idea what the default settings should be, because like I said, we all have different lifestyles. It's absolutely impossible to predict, like at what point, what kind of setting for the focus should be. So it's still on you to decide, but I hope that for many people it will be very useful and bring some order and sanity to their daily lives.
Yeah.
And before I let you go, just a very final question. How can people get in touch with you and get more information about what you do?
Well, appgrowthnetwork.com is our website. My email is fouad@appgrowthnetwork.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Fouad Saeidi, and I think in this podcast you'll put some link to our website or my information down there. I look forward to see this and support the community by all means.
That's terrific. Thanks a lot for your time and coming on our podcast, Fouad. Thank you.
Thanks, Art. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Bye-bye. And that was Fouad Saeidi, CEO at App Growth Network. To listen to more episodes, subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, all over the place. Just search for Business of Apps and you will find us easily. We release episodes on Mondays, so subscribe and you'll be able to get new episodes on your smartphone, tablet, or computer if you're still listening podcasts on computer as soon as we release them. And please don't forget to leave us a review or comment on iTunes. It is highly appreciated. And all episodes will also be available on businessofapps.com. Thank you for listening. See you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Business of Apps podcast. For more, head on over to businessofapps.com.